Hello and welcome to the Blood and Pigment channel. Today we're continuing our series on Blood and Plunder Legends, looking at some of the legendary biggest commanders in the game. I'm Joseph and I'm here with Dan and Guy. Dan, who are we looking at today?
Looking at King Golden Cap.
He hated the Spanish and was very good at fighting them. Dan, what else do you know about him?
I know that he was a notable leader of the Golden Island tribes. There's lots of islands around the opening of the current Panama Canal. He was very hospitable to his friends and very dangerous to his enemies. If records are true, he dressed in long white robes, very unlike most natives of the area. He had a golden rim of his hat and golden beads in it as well to show off his status.
I tried to do some online research and prep for this episode today, but there really wasn't much readily available online, so I just turned to the bio in the No Peace Beyond the Line, and there's some interesting details on him. Cunning, stubborn, impressive leader. Sounds like a lot of it was legend and blown out of proportion. Some witnesses say, yeah, maybe not quite so much. This is interesting here when Sharp was on trial for maybe being a pirate. He said, I was given a letter of marque from King Golden Cap. So it's legitimate. He hired me to fight the Spanish when England wasn't. And I don't know if that ever happened in any other case, a letter of marque from a native tribe. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
If not, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the defense worked, though.
Yeah. It saved his neck. There's about 400 islands around that area. I looked on Google Maps, pretty cool. Looks like Emperor Don Andreas was possibly his father. He's also in the game. Yeah, a lot of the records for Indians of this era are really sketchy, so a lot of it is just theory. But this guy worked really closely with the Buccaneers. He hated the Spanish. He raided them a lot. There's a funny little quote about at the end of this bio. When he and the other chiefs could press no further, he sent his son and nephew to go on in his stead with the South Sea adventure guys, charging the Englishmen to not be less vigorous in annoying the Spanish than if he were personally present with them. Less vigorous in annoying the Spanish. That was a great line.
You think the letter of marque was just a scrap of a Spanish flag with an X through it?
Or a crap stain on it. I don't know.
Yeah, that was signed by King Golden Cap, whatever his signature would be of the day. Like, here's it. It's right here. It's legit.
His daughter was captured by the Spanish, thus the vendetta on his rules here. And the South Sea guys, Sharp and Co., helped capture him back. And she was pregnant. And apparently the punishment for that kind of thing is mutilation and removal of the offending male member that made her pregnant. But the English wouldn't let him do that.
Yep.
Aww.
Pretty spicy bio. I recommend you read up on him if you have the No Peace Beyond the Line book. Pretty fun reading. How does he translate all this stuff into the game? Let's look at some stats for him.
Well, he is 34 points, and he can lead Darien or Golden Island tribe. Those are his own private faction is the Golden Island tribe, and Darien is the people that were around him. He has a thrown weapons and standard melee weapons.
It was notable and remarked on that he held a big, sharp spear, so that's the thrown weapon, I guess.
He's got a command range of 12 inches and 3 command points.
And then his special rules, pretty long list here. He has the Elan ability, which makes him a little more flexible and powerful in melee. He has the Vendetta Spanish, extra bonus on rallies if fighting Spanish. He has Unwavering, so if he starts shaking, he'll unshake himself, or at least take off one fatigue. And he has God's Blessing of the Devil's Luck for fortune. And Aggressive Commander, which gives everybody within his 12-inch command radius hard chargers. That's a good number of rules, and not too shabby either. The 4 fortune, that's always good for a big commander. The Aggressive Commander combos really well with the strengths of the particular factions, as does Elan, and Unwavering is good for melee combat too, so he's really set up for charging and massacring people that way.
Let's touch on his faction himself, the Golden Island tribe. This is a tribe that only he can lead, or a faction only he can lead, and it gives all Native Americans thrown weapons and make you trade anything they have for bows. So they have to have bows on them.
And it's worth pointing out they only have one core unit, the warrior units. You have to add bows to them, and they have to take thrown weapons. You got support units of young warriors who also have bows. You have to pay for their thrown weapons, and you have to have you have option of freebooters and filibusters for support, representing his alliance with those buccaneers. And then, what are special rules for that faction, Dan?
So with the faction special rules, he gives tough and hard chargers to his native units. However, what I really like is that aggressive commander trait gives hard charge to everyone within his bubble. You can have hard charge and filibusters.
Icky.
That hurts.
Tough is really, really good on native faction, though, because that resolve is one of their weaknesses. 6 resolve on all core units. So tough helps mitigate that and even helps within melee setting.
It also, you showed in your game against me with him, all of them. The tough helps with bows by getting rid of that fatigue you got from shooting more than once in a turn.
Right, you have a kind of a 2-turn cycle where you shoot twice, and then the next turn move and shoot, and then you can drop a fatigue. That's an effective way to leverage that ability.
It's kind of weird with King Goldencap that his aggressive commander thing is really only for the Fleabouses and freebooters, because his faction gives hard chargers anyways to all the other units.
As does the Darien. Let's look at the Darien Kuna faction real quick. They're very, very similar. They have the same requirement to add bows to all their units and thrown weapons to all their units. All units in the force game, the hard charger special rule. So exactly the same setup, except you don't get the tough rule. And then the core units, warriors, support units, young warriors. So again, the same, except for no European units. So yeah, both factions have hard chargers all around, so that aggressive commander only benefits those freebooters and filibusters. You're right.
So having played King Goldencap in about only one game, I had to try him out after I painted him. And playing against him at least twice, he's a good commander.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong force, and he's set up really well to lead it. 3 command points on a native commander is awesome, especially when you're required to take bows, because that means you can for sure shoot 3 more times, basically get more shots out of those bows with no reloads.
I think in that large battle we did, you shot 50 arrows at me during his turn. It was ridiculous. 50 arrows.
Right. Yeah, one activation.
Yep, one activation, just this unit shoots, then this unit shoots.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
his own unit shot twice.
Right. So his unit twice and 3 more units once. Savage. One notable exception in this guy is he doesn't have inspiring or very inspiring. The unwavering helps a tiny bit, and the Vendetta Spanish helps if you're fighting Spanish, but his resolve, the fatigue management is all reliant on that tough ability and the omnipresent grizzled veteran.
So you gotta load up on your grizzled veterans that when you can. And if you have Fleabouses and Freebooters, you can bring a Son of Neptune in one of those units.
I don't really usually spend the money to buy the European models. This isn't a cheap faction because you have to pay at least 5 points for every single model because you have to add bows to the warriors and they start out at 4, and you're paying for a 34-point commander. But I could see where they might be fun to add some flavor there.
Yeah, you put a sharpshooter with your freebooters, and you have a solid range unit to at least deal some fatigue out while you're charging in.
Yeah, let's talk about tactics for this guy in this faction. They're not bad at ranged warfare. They got a lot of bows. The warriors can take musket sidearms if you want some extra punch there, but I think you can skirmish that way. The warriors is a really good unit. They have quick and skirmishers, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So they're slippery, and now they have hard chargers, and they have thrown weapons for free. So where these guys get murderous is when they start to charge and just massacre you. They can run in. They have a 5 fight. They have hard chargers because of the factions. That means a 4, and they have thrown weapons. So on a charge, they re-roll all those misses. So they're hitting on what, like 88% or something of their dice. And they can skirmish out and hit you again if they really want to be murderous. They have Elan, so even if Golden Cap gets stuck in combat, he can give out a command point to do some more fight.
They have hidden, so if you want to engage them, you have to be within a foot, which is prime charging range. It's a trap fighting warriors in cover. It really is. You have to approach it very carefully.
Yeah, I've played against the Darien, and they hurt. They hurt bad.
Yeah, if you let them charge you, you're not going to live to tell the tale.
Yeah, never if you're under 12 inches away from them, go prone. That's just like that's throwing them red meat.
Yeah. Also, try to keep your guys clumped up so they can kind of support each other with defensive fire and whatnot. Because if you have one isolated unit, you can arrow, quick charge.
But if you do that with that quick and with King Golden Cap having 3 actions, something that Joseph did is I lined all my people up at the end of one of the little tree bubbles where everybody's in cover and I'm under a foot, and he retreated to 13 inches away. So I had to do expensive skirmish for a move action out, shoot, a move action in, 3 actions just to shoot, and then they're sitting there.
Without that penalty of it.
Yeah, they're sitting there, quick forward, shoot, skirmish back.
No
it
reload.
was no reloads needed for bows. And then as soon as you get enough fatigue piled up on your guys, the warriors charge in for damage.
We should wrap it up here, but we had 2 games that are especially notable in my mind. One of them was kind of testing the ultimate Spanish spam. So you had 66 Spanish milicianos against my Golden Cap force in a 200-point game. Is that right?
Yes. I think I had 10 units. I think I had 10 units of 8.
I think it was
That was
8
too much,
units
yeah.
of 8 probably. But yeah, you almost overwhelmed me, but I turned the tide at a crucial moment and killed a lot of Spaniards. But it was still a good game, pretty tight game. There's a battle report up on Blood and Pigment that you can read the tale of the story there. A lot of blood spilled. Yeah, it looks like you had 8 groups of 8 milicianos.
Yeah.
And 3 breastworks.
It was fun. It was fighting King Golden Cap was the wrong faction to fight. I think.
Yeah, you have 8 saves, range saves, so the bows are as deadly as they can be, and you have 6 resolve, and at least you had good melee saves. That's good.
Did not help in the end.
No. And then the other game was our jumbo version of the Battle of Real Santa Maria, which is part of the organized play campaign. We had a fort with the Spanish in it, with King Golden Cap's daughter. Then we had the English Buccaneers and the Golden Tribe attacking the fort. And that was an epic game. Also very bloody, trying to get over those walls. We had to use army scale rules, so whole companies got wiped out in single activations. That was crazy. King Golden Cap did pretty good work, but he didn't really shine storming a fort.
Yeah, it's kind of a victim of the army rules.
Yeah, we could tweak it and play it better now. But you can find those battle reports on Blood and Pigment. We don't have a faction review up for this guy yet, but that could be done.
Well, I think that wraps it up.
For more Legendary Commander reviews, you can go over to bloodandpigment.com and see articles on these commanders and all the various factions present in the game, and all sorts of articles about all things Blood and Plunder. Check it out on the blog.
Check out the rest of our YouTube channel as well. We have a great selection of videos on ships, factions, and tactics. Subscribe and ring the ship's bell so you can stay notified of our uploads.
And as always, keep your dice ready and the wind at your back, your heart.